Yat Edo, yeah, Shik Edo, Shidene. Good morning, Yat Ebine. It's good to be here this morning for the COVID-19 updates here at Town Hall on Facebook Live. Here we are with President Jonathan Nez, who's going to open up. But first and foremost, we want to open up with prayer. So if you would indulge me this morning, Kya Shedian God, Bohol Nihi God. We give you praise this morning for another day of life, Lord. We pray, Father, that those that are hurting this morning, Lord, that you would touch them and heal them, Lord, and uh, arouse their inner sense of longing for a higher power. And Lord, we know that that's you. You've created the heavens and the earth, Lord, and you've created us, Lord, Father, in your image, Father. We thank you that we can come together to aid and to pray for all of those, Lord, in our nation, across the globe, Lord. But for this instance, Lord, this COVID-19 update, well, Father, we pray that you would rain down your great wisdom, Lord, and knowledge, Lord, for leadership to be able to discuss and to update, Lord, our people, Lord, across the land about this COVID-19 and give other vital updates, Lord, as leadership here in the Office of the President, Vice President, Father. Lord, I pray you be with President Jonathan Nez and his family, Lord, and Lord, Vice President, my family, Lord, and all those, Lord, our cabinet members, Lord, and all our staff and employees, Lord, on down, Lord, to the people across this great land, Lord, in which you've given us. You've provisioned us to be here for such a time as this, Lord. We thank you. Again, we ask for your healing power, Lord, across our land and our people, Lord. Touch those that are mourning, Lord. Give them strength and mercy, Father. And I pray favor upon them, their households, Lord, as they go through a difficult season. Lord, I also thank you again that we can just ask for your grace and mercy in the future, Lord. And what does that look like? Father, as we here give updates, Lord, Father, speak to our hearts, Lord. And let us divide rightly, and let us be moved by your power, and Lord, moved by your great wisdom, Father. We thank you again for this COVID-19 Town Hall update. We give it to you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. So again, good morning. Vice President Lizer here. Comanche Nishlan, Tol Hana Basistin, Aro Comanche Dashache, Clash de Dashanelem. It's good to be with you all this morning. Just a little update on who's and what our agenda looks like this morning before I pass it on to our president, Jonathan Nez. He will be speaking, then myself, addressing our nation. And then we also have FEMA Region 9 Administrator, Mr. Robert Fenton Jr., Mark Burnell, Wood Springs 2 Fire Incident Commander, will be giving us an update on the fire that's happening right now as we speak. We'll receive an update from our Public Safety Police Chief, Philip Francisco, Dr. Jill Jem with her vital statistics and data from this fight against COVID-19. Later we'll hear from our Attorney General, Ms. Doreen McPaul. And then lastly, but not least, Arbin Mitchell giving us an update on the 2020 U.S. Census count. Hopefully our numbers will be bolstered. Those of you who are at home, please fill out your forms. And of course, you'll hear that again as we go repeatedly. So until then, right now, let's get ready to hear from our president, Jonathan Nez. We thank him for his exemplary leadership and his stalwart capabilities here in this time as he leads us and our people, our cabinet, and our leadership through this, and ultimately affects the people. So thank you, Mr. President, for your great leadership. And so we look forward to the updates. So ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Navajo Nation, Mr. Jonathan Nez.
Thank you, Vice President, you as well, with your leadership in talking with many of our leaders throughout the country and in the state, giving them the update of our Navajo citizens and of our Navajo Nation. And that is one way we task a lot of the work here at the Office of the President and Vice President. You know, as you may have seen, really out there in the communities, getting information from our frontline warriors and bringing it back here to Navajo, and then our Vice President getting that information to our governors, our president in the White House, as well as many others. And that is a great partnership that we have here with the vice president and myself. So yat en hidishniro leshik do shidna ashin shlon tratnesa ni ibashin twidich ni da shichiro trachi ni da shanala do kodo hanet shin hich kuna delne do leltiche na kijinda nashona do dijinda nashona kodo di nalni higi choshtoit ini de kosenskagi na hast ata bikijin de bahagi do kodon hikeni hidna na khalchin inachin dal nashigi ya kodon khandal nashigi bana nashidel inigi kodo hichash chan del do hanne do na antin shikedo shna o khayushi na antin kodon hich kundel adon hidoshi ade bada holna na khalchin hitsoken inalike bichash chan edalle jo kuiche kota hinanish idel ido kodoba handa hilne shikedo shidne ado kodo DJ ya ashladin baati de miliage doba sos neznatin do tradin doba ti enelt au ekon hikeni hinne das kha judi legoshi azel enego landa khlashi ek atti kon del khagi tesda badel enigi ahot ya tesda badilia das kha akho di de kosenskagi abehazini kodo tesda badiliagi be da halonigi jo khot des khagi ya has tusted de miliage doba ashla nezntin do tradin doba na kenelt ekon de kosenskagi da beda hallo da bedo ni tesda bediliagi akonde ich das kregi ya das zegi ashla de miliage doba disdin doba ashla anelt ekon nihik enige den de kosenskagi beda hallone qade ya ich das kay ayadat etazli nihilbehzen dole la shi ya badan hinne ado la ya kon binet do bejedas stil de kosenskagi hast adda bedat dol na agi la shi dan hit zil jo eben nach ekon beach noch kre ich kodo hik eni na bat so dil zenegi konde tra ne zatin doba has trantin doba tra enelt ekon hik eni na adajitten di nalnegi bedat dol na ako eshi bat so dil zendolesh kedo shidna ek edan lenegi ado shi kodo sad be hano ni kodo biche kodelia be hada inolne shi dabdi no gota juk ade ya hashit oyoho jodo la kende kata dasi tlinko landa atleho akonde akeno lini kesno lini kodo shi bukao je di besoda be kao je gich yanda so the zinda be jukon ya ani di de mo da di jinda nashona do da inisha da kon salao la do kon na chikodelia sheshi di ni che nat asha Esther do mai chutsalan lo di de kosenskagi bedadol na bits ado da jitta asha Eishi do dan linigi tsla dan linigi do patsodo zin ashwada kuichin kun khandalnesh di the mo yajia da do the mo da thin goshi nakhatra da khaho aharan da sotra da no ot abananesh del niche yadalthi sar kotoniche kunda yili ba he nossen ado da is not na jo ina antinigi ita Jokon hits loud. The quishy the cousin skagi but that does now. A conde na kien hits a jitten. Like Aidan Linigi but so does an ashwanishike, doshidna. DJ ya kodohanet, Nihich kode legi ainle FEMA den Region 9, Robert Fenton. Aishi kodoni hich a hat sich dolles. Doshin the neck etching hich a hat sich and kodo Bilaganek etchedo, the neck etching his bed as an igishinko, Himasan hitchain in Alaba, a trata hasnet dolles. Ado Mark Bernal do Aishi kodo di kuje hadok hatneya di fire Wood Springs 2 Wildfire kujinle kindatlichi do nazlini do sawmill knigo na kwashi di forest fire hadok hatnenigi she kudo yada halna dolle ha ila benina edi bedet ila de kusin tsagi hatnenigi jo na nishigi jo koje has aj ashon ade yika natja di de kusin tsagi ba akonde kareg ajik at benanish edel so ebenina she e on hilbe hazen dolle beniya Oh, Kayushi, Naidol Kit. The Kuisha, the forest fire, Ninigi, the Kuisha dog, Atlo, the Kuisha ya, Kaya, Hadas Zogi, Ahot a ya, Nich Ashan Adil net dolles. A Shla Nez, a Shla, the Mil Yajiye, Atla Hadas Zogo, Acre de Ninigia. 5,000 acre. Joishin ya hot aj hadok atligi hot the yahadolne Mark Bernal auto kodo ya o tskintlago lani hinan shibinda do kodo lahande itle jo aj force hadok atligido kojido the Robert Fenton Nakhani Yanigi Edo Bilhande Tleha Ebina Oyo Kident the seat link a conde Kodoshi ya o here than he did Nido Leshik Edo Shidna. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to give you an update, and we have a long list of presenters today, so I'm going to make this quick. We do this every Tuesdays and Thursdays. A update on COVID-19 and also some of the questions that you had. We have FEMA Region 9 Administrator with us today, Robert Fenton. Will be giving you an update on the partnership we have on COVID-19 response. Unified command that was put in place, and FEMA is one of those on the group there. We also have Mark Bernal. I know there has been a lot of questions on the fire because we can see the smoke. It's right in between Nazlini, Kindatlichi, and Sawmill. So if you look at that triangle there, it's right in the midst of that. And we want to give you an update. Close to 5,000 acres have been burned there. And you're probably wondering, how does that equate to the COVID-19 update? Since there's a fire emergency, we're having a lot of emergency personnel that was working on COVID-19 now being redirected to help out with the fire, the wildfire there, which is called Wood Springs 2. We were out there yesterday. We saw the firefighters and the personnel on the front lines, and we asked for prayers for them. Thank you for praying for weather conditions to improve. And today, as you may have noticed, no wind. So thank you to God for that. Now let's pray for rain. And this fire is pretty intense. A lot of brush and the pine needles are making the fire burn rapidly. And plus it has some harsh, really rough terrain, which makes it hard for our firefighters, our first responders to get there. And there's a lot of people around the fire that are being relocated to other places for their safety. We have the Helitac, we have the BIA, we have the BIA firefighters, we have many partners, as you probably noticed, those of you that live close proximity to this area, that you've seen maybe 5 to 8 planes flying over. Chemicals, the fire retardant chemicals are being put on the fire to slow down the spread, to stop the spread. Water is being delivered by Apache County to places where the helicopters can take the water and drop them in strategic places to slow down the fire. And there's a Type 2 team that has started, and they started today. So they made it a priority within the command structure, of course, the Navajo Nation, to put a lot of attention and resources to this fire. And it's, as you know, it's been blowing almost 24 hours for the past couple of days now. And it's a relief today that the winds have died down. COVID-19 information. And I want to give you an update on the total tests completed. I said this in Navajo, 54,734 now. Positive tests, 7,532. You know, these are facts. These are data. We announce it every time we come to you. These public, these town hall meetings. And by the way, we apologize. We didn't announce that we didn't have a town hall meeting last Thursday or Friday. As you all know, we lost 2 police officers, a criminal investigator, Esther and Mike. Mike was laid to rest on Thursday, and then Esther had her ceremony on Friday. And so out of respect and reverence, we didn't have no town hall meeting during those times. And you know, we just continue to pray for our first responders and our police officers out there that are on the front lines. You know, these 2 caught the virus. We don't know. I don't know how. But this is real life situations that our police officers go through, first responders go through, and we as citizens go through. That this virus is real. This virus is a serious pandemic here on the Navajo Nation. So I'm going to show you table 2. If I'm sorry, on this one it says, I'm sorry, the recovery rate. Let me go back to the recovery rate. 5,095 people have recovered from COVID. So 7,532, right? Positive tests. 5,095 have recovered. So a little bit over 2,500 still have the virus here on Navajo. 363 of our Navajo people have lost their lives to COVID. And if you could put table 4 up, we'll start out with table 4. I just want to give you an idea on the deaths by age and gender. And to give you facts, in table 4, is it up? It shows that the Navajo Nation COVID-19 deaths. If you look at the age, if you look at a total first, it says 363. Those are the total deaths. So the age of 60 and over, 60 to 69, 70 to 79, and 80 plus. Look at those percentage. If you were to put those percentage together, that's over 60%. That's like 2 out of 3 people in that age category. Of all the deaths, 2 out of 3 people are in that age category. Those are our elders. Now, the statistic says that those that have confirmed positive cases, and that's what I was referring to, table 2, but I understand table 2 is not, we're not able to bring it up. But let me just give you table 2 here that I have before me. So the people that are getting the virus, and this is like this throughout the country, ladies and gentlemen, from 20 years old to 60 years old. Those two combined is over 60% of people who are contracting the virus. So now how does that correlate with the deaths? You know, young people, 60 and younger, are getting the virus and they are able to recover. But the younger generation may be the cause of the spread to the older generation, 60 plus. And 60 plus, many of them are in this most vulnerable category. And 66% of the deaths are in over 60 years old. So everybody, please listen to the experts out there. You may think you're invincible, young people. You may think that you are Superman, Superwoman, that, yeah, if you catch the virus, you'll survive, which is true in the data, which it looks to correlate with that. But you know what? The spread in a household, you could be the one to give COVID-19. Even you're asymptomatics, you're not in this severity of the virus. But if you were to give it to an elderly, you know, the chances are high that our elderly will not make it. And so we really need to think about that. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why we're here telling you to wear your mask, to social distance, to wash your hands, and to stay home. You know, during these 2 lockdowns, I've heard people out there in the community saying that, well, it's not going to pertain, or it's not going to affect me, or it won't go into my family. But you know what? There are people that have thought that have gotten the virus, and now they regret being in big gatherings or leaving the nation to various hot spots here on the Navajo Nation. I mean, outside the Navajo Nation, I'm sorry. And then in terms of the data, let me have you take a look at figure 2. Figure 2 here shows the flattening of the curve and the possible reduction of the virus here on Navajo, which is good for us. But all around us, all around the Navajo Nation, you have seen increases, big spikes in COVID-19. And if you don't believe me, turn on CNN right now. Turn on Fox News right now. Turn on the news right now, and you'll see that a lot of attention is on Phoenix, Arizona, all these states that have opened back up prematurely, and they see a rise in COVID positive cases. This chart shows the 8 service units, and you can see the flattening of the curve in terms of positive cases. Chinle, Kayenta, Crown Point, Shiprock, Fort Defiance, Tuba City, Gallup, and Winslow. And if you see Winslow, there was a increase June 17th, a big increase, and then on the 24th. Ladies and gentlemen, there has been a big spike in Coconino County. And outside of the nation. And if we're not careful, these types of spikes will happen if we go off into hot spots here around the Navajo Nation. So again, it is critical that we use our mask. Mask saves lives. April was when we mandated people to wear masks, in April. And now you hear people, cities and towns mandating themselves to wear masks. And if you look at the data here that I'm showing you, it correlates. When we began wearing masks, of course, there was an increase because of the education of wearing masks. But the more and more we wear masks, it flattened out. And masks reduce COVID-19. And masks save lives. And now they're finding that out all around us, and they're mandating masks. And I want to say thank you to all of you that have wearing masks, even at home wearing masks. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort to educate everyone about the importance of wearing masks. So if you look at figure 1, these are numbers starting from March 17th to today. These are all the positive cases that we've been reporting. But I want you to look at the last several days. The chart that we showed you previously about the flattening of the curve and the lessening of the positive cases, you can see that. For the past over 2 weeks, we've saw numbers under 100, except for 4 days ago, where it had 121. That was one day that it went over, and that correlates with the Winslow service unit, where that big spike happened. And so this is good news for all of us. You know, the shelter in place, the staying home. Those of you that say curfew doesn't work, look at the data. It shows that the curfews and the lockdowns work. It keeps most of our people at home. Of course, there are some that disobey. And those of you that disobeyed, you know who you are. But you're also putting the lives of our Navajo people at stake, in jeopardy. So be reminded of that and hold each other accountable there with your families and your communities. The other thing I wanted to mention, and this can be put up on the as another slide, table 6 and 7. Now, the border town data. The border town data is not included in our reports here on Navajo Nation. So the numbers that I gave you up front with the number of cases and the number of tests that have been given, we don't include border town. It's only the people that are within the Navajo Nation citizens. But we have we have Navajo citizens that live off the Navajo Nation. You got Gallup, you got Winslow service area that tracks those numbers. But if you look at the border town COVID-19 cases, those are 2,071. Less than 18 years of age, 12%. Look at 18 to 60 again, ladies and gentlemen. 71%. Those are the positive cases. And then look at the elderly. 17%. It's a low number, yes. But if you look at the 60 or over, that 17% of those that catch the virus in that age category, 72% have passed. Again, that's people not recognizing that they could be asymptomatic or they are sick and not abiding by the washing of hands, social distancing, or the mask. If you look at table 7 there, those are the deaths, border town deaths. Look at that, 72%, as I said, 113. And that's just close by the Navajo Nation. These are just numbers close by the Navajo Nation, Gallup service area, also in Winslow service area, and all around us. This data doesn't show further out of our nation. Now, further out, I want to bring up this new chart, which is the chart that has the increase in outside the Navajo Nation. It says number of positive cases by day of epidemic. Navajo Nation, including border towns. You can see since the start, they're down at the bottom. It says 1, 3, all the way to 109. Those are the days since this pandemic. You can see the rise, and then it comes down and it peaks up. And as you see in around day 67, 68, it starts to go down on a downward trend. And where it's circled in red there is of concern to us. Did you get it? Because of what's happening off our nation. And that's why we say, don't travel to these hot spots. And if you do, we need to let people know, our relatives know, that they should, stay out there. I know it's hard. We spent Mother's Day and Father's Day away from our family. We love our family. We just don't want to put them in a situation where they could contact the virus, even though we think we're healthy. We got to be careful. So if you look at the chart there, it's starting to increase. It's starting to increase in the Navajo Nation. And let me take you to the next chart. This one here. If you look at that chart, it shows Navajo Nation. If the Navajo Nation in the Four Corner State, it would probably be yellow. But they didn't put our statistics out. But we broke it down to show, and this is from the CDC, this is from the epidemiology team, and Dr. Vaugh and many others, their team, put these together. If you look at Arizona, so 14-day, is there a 14-day downward trajectory? Look at for Arizona, in the red there, a big increase, 30-day streak, and it's still going up. Again, the news says it. Colorado, increasing. New Mexico, you could see it went down a bit, but now it's starting to go back up. Utah, you can see that increase. Now look at the Navajo Nation, ladies and gentlemen. The graph before this graph showed that it's starting to go up. You see there's a 4-day streak, Navajo Nation, and that's excluding the border towns. And so there's beginning to be an uptick. Remember, we're not at 0 cases. We're still up there, but at least it's not over 100. And it's still a concern for us what's happening around the Navajo Nation. And this is what we are very concerned about. If you go to the next one, I think it's the purple. This is the percent of inpatient beds occupied by states. If you look at Arizona, it's 70% or more. That means that their capacity, remember when we were talking about the surge projection? Surge meaning how much, what's the percentage of the healthcare system being used? And because we were peaking while others were still not as hit hard yet, we were able to send our patients that had COVID-19 for specialized care. We would fly them out. You know, we've heard stories of people being flown out to Banner, to Phoenix, to Albuquerque, those that are on the New Mexico side, going to these healthcare facilities because they weren't getting hit hard. Now that they're getting hit hard, that's a concern for us. If we start spiking here, and if we need specialized care, I'm afraid that our patients, our people will get turned away because they're dealing with an emergency out there. And there's not enough emergency beds. There's not enough beds in general. And so we're going to have to take care of our people. And you know, we only have a handful of hospitals here on the Navajo Nation. So again, we can, you know, lessen the rate by doing what we've been doing. That's why we're saying don't let up. Don't back down from this virus. Don't just think, oh, okay, we're going down now. I don't have to wear a mask. I don't have to wash. You know, you got to continue to do those things. Social distancing. Even our relatives that are off the Navajo Nation, tell them to do the same thing. They don't have to be forced to do it. You as mom and dad, grandma, grandpa, Nelly should be able to say, hey, do that. Off the nation. And this is what I'm talking about, the next one. If you look at the next chart, this is Arizona, ICU beds. And they're at almost 90% now of the healthcare system usage in terms of ICU beds. And it's way up there in the state of Arizona. So ladies and gentlemen, what we're all trying to do, Vice President, myself, the council delegates, the leaders in our communities, our healthcare professionals, our public safety, our warriors out there on the front lines, is just to stay home. Stay home. Hunker down, stay home. I know that there is so much information that you don't know what is what these days because information overload. But what we're showing you here is that now is not the time to travel. I know it's summer. We want to go travel. We've been sitting in our homes for over 3 months now. But now is not the time. There's no cure. There's no vaccine to COVID-19. The experts are saying that when the flu season comes around this winter, fall and winter, it could go up high, COVID-19. But you Navajo people have done awesome. During the surge projection that was given by IHS, you beat the projection by a whole month because of listening to leaders, by staying home, and we try to do our very best to get you supplies to stay home and hunker down on the weekend. Handing out sanitizers. And by the way, please be careful with those hand sanitizers. CDC has mentioned to us that throughout this country there's a rise in people drinking or using hand sanitizers, that they're overdosing, and some people have died because of it. But use it the correct way. The things that we've been doing has helped flatten the curve. And most importantly, wear your mask, ladies and gentlemen. Wear your masks everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. Supermarket, to the hospitals, to the clinics, public, and even at home. It doesn't hurt. So especially those that work, that have to leave the house, it's okay to wear a mask at home. Wearing a mask shows that you care for yourself, but most importantly, it shows that you care for others. I know it doesn't look cool, but it shows that you are a warrior by wearing your mask in public or even at home, ladies and gentlemen. So now that I gave you all the data, the information, the decision of leadership, Vice President and I, and the experts, is that it is, or we should, let me say, extend the government closure beyond July 6th. And so today we're going to sign a executive order, and that's the 5th executive order that we have signed pertaining to COVID-19, extending the closure of the Navajo Nation government office and related entities. And we're going to extend the closure for another 3 weeks. July 26th is what we're looking at. Of course, we're going to keep looking at the data, and we'll reevaluate that a week before July 26th. We do have a reopening plan that's safe, that we feel like it's going to be safe to bring our employees back and open up the government. But because of what's happening all around us, it would be premature to open the Navajo Nation government back up at this time, ladies and gentlemen. And again, based on the experts, we rely on the experts, the healthcare experts, to guide us on these decisions. And we're going to be incorporating 3 weekend curfews to correlate with this 3-week extension of the closure to July 27th. So for the next 3 weekends, we are going to implement the 57-hour curfew. 4th of July weekend is upon us. Please don't travel. Stay home. Our relatives that are out, especially in these hot spots, I plead with you. Please don't come home at this time, but take care of yourself and your family where you're at. And that's just to protect our elders. Remember the data that I showed. Over 66% of the people who have passed on are over 60 years old. Let us protect our elders. Let us protect our first responders as well. Those frontline warriors, by just staying home, ladies and gentlemen. The shelter in place, the stay home order, will be reaffirmed. And please don't travel. Only essential workers be on the roads. NTUA, thank you for continuing your work. NECA, continuing your work. I mean, these are essential workers. Police officers, doctors and nurses, the list goes on, that are keeping our government going. And again, visitors, there's traffic on the road, yes. Visitors, get your fuel, get your food, and just pass on through our nation, please. Do not stop because there's businesses that are closed. Abide by our laws and policies, please. We're a big nation. Other tribes can lock down their lands in a heartbeat because maybe they have only one road, 2 roads that go through their nation. We're 27,000 square miles, ladies and gentlemen. And as I've said, and Vice President has said, government cannot be walking around after you to tell you to do things. It is upon ourselves, just like you did with reducing and flattening out the numbers and reducing the numbers here on Navajo. We can do this together. Ladies and gentlemen, you are all warriors on the front line. Let's continue to be warriors. Young people, go and shop for your elders. First of the month is coming up. And then that operation will continue in the mornings at bashes. Will be exclusively for our elders and our high-risk patients. Please don't leave the Navajo Nation. I plead with you, ladies and gentlemen. We can get through this by working together. Not so quiet. Then you can not ligia. Kon la abahosh net bilaganik etcha. Dashi the bilaganik etcha ni hilbeda hazan. Shashin etra dahosh net dole. Jo la na antiendo la kodoni hich hadatzi. Akonde edishnit it ogo. Bilagana bikaya ke aje. Blush like hat inigia. Die nachnigi. De kosenskagi na hast aids at dat o dagot de konil. Hos dodin de ahot Kudoba hoshne. Ebinina aroj an da kreindishno. Aron hi Washington do dat del kal do lel. Tra na de mo do lel di no Donald Soshin ni hijib kail neto lel kodoshin na bil Vice President Myron Lizer. Ado the mo yajigun do the mo gun ishin teen dat del kal do lel don da jet do lel konke huit inigi. Bilagana shin konbel da jet do lel konde ishin a tskhinlago. The nebeke of a cow, Jada Kata bedi nido lel. Ako, Trashi, hot our nadil neto lel. The more yajagun at the more gonna. Trandez it, what our nadil neto lel. I mean, Trat the more do lel. Hot our nadil neto lel. Beninagi, Kodok, Benago, the Kosenskagi. Der kon nicht oder nicht hier schon ja kon nicht an de kregisa arot loch an da kre nicht da dol na do kodo besnin zago kodna da na da dol kilot ashik edoshna ebini na basit do ebini na hot da ilnesh enoslini additionally ta bi chidi khawat adi kwa de kosenskagi ilkil ka nature dol hiln delnesho Jo hot kon hina nishdelia ebinina ya kon nilne. Di nikichinton hize dat de spaligi hot andak khayashkhond mask chudale. Aro yidego yadalt hier da dinne. Hastra kesla dobla anelt shin hot nza chiyelt kitol. Aron hilla tkhalogosh bet khadakis. Aro ha haganden da sotha. Nasto da aide hot yadelt kit dasitli. Beni nagi jokon hik eni nala. Di di nalni do da jitten. Bahastki. Nastas lingi yisia. Hastra dobla binda khaygi. Hot ya yego. Ka nature do lel de snow dishnin ki masani hi cheni nal nastas lingi hot ni hi joba inch ke do lel nana shik shidna ada hoslia kodo han ni hi kondel ingi ba da hosna ndishnin lego ni hi al chintlo de ke da hat inigi di chadal Ti hot ani hit hata otzi. Nihido hot ata oslenta bedo no. Sashi hosto de la keda hat. Jo de kon nilishna. Edo hota bedo ne. Arach anta khe. Master das. Nihila tkhalagosh betrada kis jo khana anthinigi do aden benda no tkindo de. Hot beach di khawat ashik edo shna. Ko mado jebe hanni. Akon de kuishi de mo ahot ya ahganen da sitra. Jado mabe hanni hat noda. Sashini khalchen aro hagande. Bellasi tlida. Jadina snegi benina. Akonde. Nakha ni znoda ditne. Ada hosyada ditne. Jo ena antinigi kodo de kuishi. Nantin. Nihije kondali. Zel indan linigin hitslada. Edo bada huilya. Do hine khada. Asa ni zno. Nakhalchen yetsokhe. Edan linigin hikestan linigi. Edo badate shik enoslin. Ebini nai kodo da halya shik edo shna shwade. Ni Joe Biden shkedo dishne kodo president. Benache da shollagi kodo ka nature hodi bichdi khawd atta tsoda dolzen. Kodo do laje dal neshigido pat soda dolzen. So here she kodo hanen hije kona delia. Ado kodo ni vice president she hije hanana tsitolel. Vice president of the Navajo Nation, I'll turn the time over to you. God bless you. Take care of yourself. 4 things, right? Wear your mask. Social distance. Wash your hands. Stay home. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate your exemplary and stellar leadership here in this fight against COVID-19. It's good to be with you all this morning. I've already introduced myself in Navajo, in my clans earlier. Very important, this morning, especially on the first day of decreased winds, praise the Lord. Our prayers are for the firefighters and that they're able to make some inroads in this fight against this fire, which is standing at about 5,816 acres currently with almost zero to very little containment. So after this past weekend's winds, wind and fire and dry tinder do not go together at all. So we are appreciating all of our frontline responders, as we've always said, during this COVID-19 pandemic. Our first responders and emergency medical personnel and our health professionals and all of the nurses and doctors and epidemiologists. Man, I tell you, our prayers are with you to bolster your fight, to aid in your recovery, and to aid in your efforts into helping our Navajo Nation. So we thank you, one and all. Yeah. This morning, and just to let you know, this leadership here is working on our fiscal year 2021 budget for our Navajo Nation. This leadership has the power to shape the future. Our 3 branches are the judicial, legislative, and the executive branches. Never before has our nation been in this position to aid and enhance the health, education, and economic development, among others, and expand our infrastructure for future ability to fight this pandemic and the next potential pandemic, whatever that may look like. Right now, as it stands, and it's been verified by President and our controller and all of the leadership here, that we have $714 million, $189,631.47, in which to fashion for our nation the future for our people and what that will look like. I've always said that our nation is 30 years behind the times. We now have the funds to alleviate ourselves from this COVID-19 pandemic and prepare for the next, as I said. But while we are doing that, we need to work at expanding our current infrastructure which is the foundation of a stronger economic nation builder. So we look to expand our economic capacity while we are implementing plans to fight the next potential pandemic and whatever that may look like. As the states of Arizona, Utah, and New Mexico are opening up their respective economies, we've seen increased numbers, which is alarming. The spike came on the heels of decreased restrictions in these states with the stringent health orders in New Mexico curtailing those numbers. Shout out to our leadership in New Mexico for keeping their numbers not as high as Arizona and Utah. But, we're all in this together. We're all part of those economies as well. So we all see that masks in public are working and have worked. And retailing can proceed safely just with these stringent health measures in place and adhered to by all of us. As the rest of the country advances its fight against COVID-19, our Navajo Nation's fight is no different. We've always said, stay home, stay safe, and save lives. Nothing's changed. We've done that by and large. We need to keep on keeping on, Shidine, in this measure, as you heard our president just say. Others would say, cover your face. Others would say, mask up. Stop the spread. And so we appreciate all of those vital messages and for all of us to adhere to those as well. Last week, I was in Phoenix with President Trump and our state's leadership. I deemed this essential work as the Vice President to update and show support for the national fight against COVID-19. The ridicule will always be out there in this realm of leading the largest Indian tribe in America. The opinions of some are not my reality as your leader. Friday, we will be with Secretary Sonny Perdue as he visits the Navajo in a spot chance to provide from his office the USDA. He's the secretary of the USDA, but we'll be able to provide him and his office vital updates from here on Navajo. In this short discussion, we will discuss our need for rural broadband and the measures that this will bring, especially in this fight against COVID-19. Also, we'll be discussing agriculture and farming and food security. As you know, in this pandemic, food sometimes has been scarce. And so what will the next future pandemic look like here on Navajo? You've also heard us talk about we only have 13 grocery stores here on the Navajo Nation, which is the size of West Virginia, 27,000 square miles. In a comparison, West Virginia has 164 grocery stores in which they can buy their produce and needed goods and services. So we're behind the times. Like I said, 30 years behind the times. But we need to catch up, and we can do this all if we work together and work hard. And also in this talk with Secretary Sonny Perdue here Friday, we'll discuss ranches. I know many of our ranchers here on Navajo have had questions. What kind of opportunities are provided for them in this CARES Act funding? And so hopefully we'll be able to highlight some of those and the need to advocate for our own Navajo ranchers across our land. We'll discuss jobs. And also, lastly, but maybe the most important one, removing obstacles as we look to spend the CARES Act money, alleviating the bureaucracy and red tape of years and years of no real development here on Navajo and in Indian country. So we'll be able to do that. And so I appreciate all of you all and the comments. Yes, everyone. They're all needed and they're all part of our society. But these are the opportunities that we have to take advantage of when and wherever those opportunities arise. And so these are extraordinary times, which calls for extraordinary actions. So we can make these changes and shape our future. Lastly, who would have thought that we would all be going through this? What with this COVID-19 pandemic, fighting the spread, the high number of deaths of our people, the attention of the world upon Navajo and Indian country, and the health disparities that are being elevated right now for all to see, and hopefully understand. And that's where our leadership comes in, where we're able to advocate and by relationship be able to correct, if you will, be able to inform, be able to update on our health disparities, our disparities in which we're lagging, education, economic, infrastructure, all of these things. And so, we continue to be on the forefront of the world's attention. And so we look forward for those opportunities. And so, lastly, I also want to just, for such a time as this leadership has been assigned the reins in which to steer this nation. You would all do well to pray and support your people by giving aid, by praying for all of our nation as we are all in this together. I feel that the majority of our nation is doing this. To those I say, we are all in this together. And so I've just been handed what President has mentioned, our executive order that we have, I'm able to sign. And so for all the nation to see, I will sign that. This is the Executive Order 006-20, fifth executive order related to extending the declaration of a state of emergency due to the COVID-19 virus on the Navajo Nation, further extending the closure of Navajo Nation government offices and related entities. And so on this day, the 30th day of June 2020, Vice President will sign here. And also getting ready for Q, I'm going to introduce our next speaker here very shortly. And there we go. It's official, only to be attested by our Navajo Nation Attorney General, Ms. Doreen N. McPaul. So she'll do that, and so this will be made official. You'll see this very shortly as a press release, but also probably on Facebook and all the other reporting measures that we utilize. And so I appreciate this opportunity to speak to you, Shadana. You are all prayed for. You are all in our thoughts and prayers. And those that are struggling right now, again, our prayers go to all of our people. And that grace and favor will be found in your household. And that the Lord's provision will come to you in power and in strength. And so we appreciate that time again. And so now, without further ado, our next speaker, the Region 9 Administrator for FEMA, which is Mr. Robert Fenton Jr. And so I introduce Mr. Robert Fenton Jr. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mr. Vice President Leiser, and I appreciate President Nez having me here today and being able to talk to you about our partnership in regard to response to COVID. First, I'd like to express my condolences for all those who have lost family and friends in the fight against COVID. FEMA has been a long-standing partner of the Navajo Nation through disasters over the years, and this one's no different. We've been here since March, and the President's emergency declaration supporting the Health Command, and will continue to be here until COVID is eradicated. Our role here is to coordinate the federal interagency, all the federal agencies that are brought here to help Indian Health Services, CDC, ASPR, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Health and Human Services, the VA, and many others that are bringing resources, medical personnel, and other forms of assistance to support the members of the Navajo Nation and support the President and his priorities. I want to thank President Nez for his partnership and his leadership and taking aggressive action with regard to mitigation measures, as it does save lives, especially today's signing and extending the executive order. As we see hotspots all around the Navajo Nation, it's even more important that we take these type of actions. So remember, stay vigilant, wash your hands, practice social distancing, wear a mask. Together, we can make a difference, and lives can be saved. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Your willingness to sit with us and give us all the information to our people. So thank you for being a part of this town hall.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. You betcha. You betcha. Thank you again. And so we appreciate those comments and the updates from our Region 9 Administrator, Mr. Robert Fenton Jr. From FEMA. So are needed, and one of our most important partners in this fight against COVID-19. So yeah. Next, I'd also like to introduce via WebEx, joining us on this town hall is Mr. Mark Bernal, who is the Wood Springs 2 Wildfire Incident Commander. And so he'll be giving us a vital and timely update on this, the fight against this fire that is rapidly spread in the last couple of days because of the wind. And so we're thankful to our Creator for today. The wind has dissipated, and hopefully they can contain the fire. So Mr. Mark Bernal, if you would.
Hey everyone, can you see me and hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Well, good morning, everyone. Mark Bernal, Incident Commander for Southwest Area Team 5. We have taken command over the incident of 0600 this morning. We had a great transition with the local Type 3 Incident Commander, and we've got all the necessary information we have. As President Nez said earlier, the fire is currently 5,816 acres right now, and that's based off of our last infrared. Right now, the winds are subsided. The fire, the wind, it's not pushing right now as it was yesterday. We're hoping to have a very productive day today. We are getting additional crews and resources. We're looking at both working areas with crews as well as working areas with mechanical where we can, and be able to expedite containing the fire as quickly as possible. Right now, if we're going to be sending out maps and also keeping people informed as much as we can, we're just trying to get our feet underneath us, but to get out the necessary information to everyone. As the fire right now, it is running parallel along the KV line, that power line that is out there. It has not impacted it. It is staying to the west of that KV line. Yesterday, with the fire push, the head of the fire did push over Road 26, BI Road 26, and it is probably southwest of Good Rock Lake. So it's probably about 2.5 miles southwest of there. So, and it has not crossed BI Road 27 or 7. I'm sorry. So with that, we are trying to build a plan and a contingency on how we are going to contain this fire with the resources that we have. Just to let folks know, we do have COVID measures in place. We have Ralph Lucas. He's on the line here with us also. I'll go ahead and introduce him. He is going to be our COVID representative. Ralph, if you just go ahead and introduce yourself real quick. Ralph, we can't hear you, buddy.
Yeah, I got you now. Sorry about that. Hey, hello, everyone. President Nez, what you said really resonated with me in your comments. So I just want you to know that this team has active protocols in place. We're going to be pretty shut down to the public and trying to limit access and stuff like that. We just want folks to understand that that's not to be rude in any way. It's just a way of protecting the folks of the Navajo Nation and ourselves so that we can all go back to our families once we get this fire wrapped up. I'll be available, so if there's any questions, I'll be around on these meetings, and I'll turn it back over to our IC, Mark.
Thank you, Ralph. Just like Ralph was saying, we are having a closed camp right now just to limit the amount of exposure. But like I said, we're going to be trying our best, doing the same thing as everybody else and trying to get this information out via video calls, video chats, as well as through different media contacts. We are, as far as the resources right now, they're all staying, most of them are staying out on the line. We have different spike camps. We didn't want resources coming in and also going into town and potential exposure there also. So our intent is to keep resources out after they come in and check in with us. And then after things subside with this incident, looking at a quick demob also. So with that, like I said, we will be getting the information out as quickly as we possibly can, as soon as we get fully everything running with our feet underneath us. And that way we're getting that information out to folks. I just want to say thanks again for inviting me to the meeting. We will continue to try to have somebody on this if requested, but we'll continue to provide that information as we can. Thank you.
Mr. Bernal. How often are these updates being given throughout the day? Any increase in acreage? Is that really timely, or is that every few hours? Oh, did you hear me, Mr. Bernal?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry.
Okay. I was just asking, this is Vice President Lizer here. Thank you for your assistance here in providing those updates. I just wanted to ask you if how often the acreage and the containment percentage is updated during the day, the course of a day.
It will be updated after shift every day, and that will be sent out on a news release or different media contact every day.
Oh, I appreciate that. So we'll look forward for the next update. So prayers for you all. Great making advancement in the containment of this with the less than win, and just stay safe up there, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. All right. Well, you've heard that from Mr. Bernal, who's our incident commander fighting the Wood Springs 2 wildfire here on Navajo, just a few miles from our headquarters here in Window Rock, Arizona. And so up next, Dr. Jill Jim, our executive director for our Department of Health. Take it away, Dr. Jim.
For the introduction, and just want to thank all the presenters, including President, Vice President, and the guests here with our FEMA.
She's going to introduce the next one.
Bob Pipton as well. So just wanted to thank him as part of the presentation as well. FEMA has been boots on the ground with us since the beginning. We have several staff that have been with us through this pandemic when it started in March. So I just want to thank all our partners and then the support that we continually have. And this coronavirus disease is not over. There's no vaccine. And we probably are expecting probably worse situations around us right now. So just want to keep everyone vigilant and understanding that the pandemic is not over. As we have heard from the president, that lifting restrictions and also reopening services in our neighboring states have seen the impact of the increases in cases, and also the hospital capacity has been a great concern to the Navajo Nation, as our Navajo healthcare system is prepared and working on making sure that there are plans for a new surge or a future surge. But we just want to ensure that the only way we can stop the spread and not overwhelm our healthcare system is by doing our role and our take in what we need to do prevention. So I just wanted to make those overall summary comments for everyone, just to understand the decisions around continuing the lockdowns. But I'm going to go ahead and add a presentation here, so to kind of just make everyone part of this whole process of the key messages that we want to do here, basically around protecting yourself, your family, your community, our elders in the Navajo Nation. We can all work together to stop the spread of COVID-19. And the main preventive measures that were mentioned earlier is just the continuing social distancing and physical distancing. Wearing masks in public is still very important. Cleaning regularly to disinfect is also important. Washing hands for 20 seconds or more on a regular basis. And basically staying home. We had shelters in place on public health orders before, and the only way this all works for all of us is that we continue to make those efforts, and it's just a constant reminder to your relatives, your friends, and everyone else. And the continued closure and lockdowns will reduce mobility, meaning movement within the Navajo Nation, movement within the households, movement within communities. And these are reasons why we continue to do these lockdowns. some of the reopening possibly is impacting our numbers here, as we showed earlier, and we are seeing border town chapter communities showing an increase of positive cases. So those are in those communities. If you're near a border town area, please stay home. That you know that by going off the reservation, going into restaurant shopping, you're basically increasing your exposure to COVID-19. As the weekend approaches for 4th of July as well, we continually want to advise individuals that any type of social gathering increases your risk for COVID-19. So limit gatherings to your immediate family members in the same household. Consider everyone as a positive, even if it's someone from your own family from a different household wants to visit. That means wearing a mask indoors when others visit, but sheltering in place is just basically encouraging people to stay home and not visiting either. A lot of these measures are to address social distancing, and as we're always continuously reminded that COVID-19 is easily transmittable, and at least wearing a protective mask and continuing to do these disinfection processes are probably going to help reduce COVID-19 exposures as well. Some of these are images are on the Facebook page for the Navajo Department of Health. These are constant public health messages, and I'm going to share a couple of these today. Basically, avoiding travel outside the Navajo Nation during the COVID-19 pandemic. And this was a public health message that was issued in the last public health order, basically advising individuals, a travel advisory basically to areas that are high in COVID-19, which is now basically any area outside the Navajo Nation. Also, before you travel off the Navajo Nation, which we're now advising you not to at any time, even during non-curfew hours, there are some questions that you should consider when traveling off the Navajo Nation is to decide if COVID-19 is spreading where you're going. So being cognizant of those hotspot areas, will you or those you are traveling with be within 6 feet of others during or after your travel? So just ensuring that you're still practicing physical distancing. Are you or those you are traveling with more likely to get ill from COVID-19? So just reassessing the people that are going with you. Early on during the pandemic, we were constantly reminded to travel alone, to grocery shop, to not bring kids. I know that several grocery stores such as Basha's or other areas were enforcing children not coming into the grocery store. And so those are just considerations. If there are individuals with underlying health conditions, might be one way to answer this question, putting others at risk. Do you live with someone who is more likely to get very ill from COVID-19? So if you do have an elder or someone with health conditions at home, by you traveling off the nation possibly increases their risk of getting COVID-19 by coming back with an exposure of COVID-19. Also coming back, are you prepared to quarantine for 14 days after your trip? So those are just some questions again regarding traveling. Are you prepared for the risk? So these were all examples of when we did lift some restrictions, but we're not anymore. So just basically avoiding travel and sheltering in place. The message is to stay home, but this is just a reminder to everyone of when you're deciding to travel, always wear a mask, wash your hands, and maintain physical distance. Another thing that President mentioned and also others in the state are experiencing is just the disinfection of not having, not consuming that. So disinfectant safety, do not drink of or inject bleach, Lysol, or other disinfectant. There have been several hospitalizations and fatalities on the Navajo Nation. So do not use hand sanitizer that contains methanol as well. So just continue to be aware of FDA advice as well. procedures and guidelines. Follow label instructions, do not mix chemicals. And also there's a poison helpline here at 1-800-222-1222 as well. So just make sure you practice these safety as well to prevent any kind of hospitalization. And just as a reminder to keep your guard up and cleaning and disinfecting your home daily. That's probably a good practice that we've always have been encouraged by our elders and our family members to keep everything sanitized and disinfected. Everything from commonly touched surfaces, from tables, doorknobs, clean areas that are visibly dirty. And so while you're disinfecting, wear reusable or disposable gloves, clean surfaces using soap and water first. And then disinfected, wash your hands. Do not drink or inject disinfectant products. And as well, just a reminder to look at the labels and store disinfectant out of reach of children. So these are messages that are still very important on social media that we post. This one's not very clear, but this one is just to demonstrate the image here that if you wear a mask, without a mask, you're very highly at risk for COVID-19. And also, one person is wearing a mask, it's still a high risk. But when you're both wearing a cloth mask, you're a low risk, but you're very low if you then practice both masks of a person and then wearing 6 or within 6 feet distance. And then you're really at limited exposure to none if you stay home. So that's the message behind the mask wearing in public, even at home, as I mentioned. So wear a mask around others, not just for yourself, but it's to protect all individuals around you when you're around and about in the community or at work or at home. And also another thing is to keep ourselves healthy. I know this is still a stressful time for everyone, but there are new numbers that are here on the screen here for our mental health hotline has additional numbers for these regions. We have Navajo residents can call the Navajo Regional Behavioral Health Center at 505-368-1438 and also 505-368-1467 between 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And you can also, after 5 p.m., call different lines in Chinle, Dilcon, and Tuba, Farmington, Kirtland, and Shiprock, and also Shiprock and Red Mesa region. So if you have any questions and any issues around just needing to talk to someone about being stressed out or about COVID-19, please call those numbers so you're able to get the help that you need as well. So I just want to thank everyone for being on the call, and I hope that we continue to practice preventive measures. We are doing a great job in contributing to the decreases, as President mentioned, since May. So continually work on those. And then I can just say a little bit in Navajo here to the listeners, and I hope you guys can also help translate to the elders as well. Ado Shayla Jiljamin Shadow look on Sean touching the bushes sheen do a shade the shado is a fun additional. Ado what I staunch do not this on the ice nasha do the executive director for the Navajo Department of Health. It's East Bahayan J. Besnash do and Honda in the Shasi Shars that ending. The Kosentagi Nas 8 the Holyanigi at the Alba the Hanastendo, they go at the Kelto, Quading, Hila at the Conda Gesto, pushing in the net, but social distance at Holyanigi, Quadi, Adas Indo, Ahova the Niso, Tondo, the more Yajigo non, Ahova the Niso, a day bush at the Dosneto, Quachion, Dosneto, Hida, Todo Aladan. Hit the bedo Lizado Bikashita. Binya Quadi, washed at the Dosneto, Ashwa the Hadi, the Kosentagi, Nas Edo, the Holyanigi, Kadi on here donate out the do Kadi at on city castle and Kadi hik ate and nap on city castle. A yashi Kadi at the niche Kadi aho want the nice seat condo di qui gentle di hashi di ato di the question tagi ato natural when that do about the needs in Ocean Day. Ado Kadi dice not on if you had non hitting needle if you had.
Go ahead, Mr. Mitchell.
Ja, peso nahatla adonda na nat ani ben natahatso ebenina ja yegon kidet khasin lo aje inotsa agi ado anta ja ate update leave but no ek apane khe June the 11th we got back on the field a questionnaires at each housing unit we're dropping off questionnaires although plastic bag door handle we're not knocking on the doors because of we're not interacting with anybody at the housing unit or a questionnaire again that the deadline to complete dropping off questionnaire is next week July the 7th, August the 11th, only October 31st. Non-response follow-up is no operation we will be knocking on the door during that time. The census and we don't want to do that face-to-face in-person meeting. COVID response rate at the national level, they're at 60% response rate. The questionnaire again not on the second week of March and that postcard, those are the folks that have city style address other rural America we use post office box or questionnaires are being dropped off at the housing unit. March suspended operation is the 3 days we were out the field 3 days at the June 11th we have like 210 employees with census now. We selected 1,070 as of yesterday. Asia anabi tabati no in tabati kit adon that 1,070 the shinige so a non-response follow-up Asia the August the shinige okana na shet hadno adon that kit nato we probably have a good maybe close to 1,500 employees once we get to that operation non-response on the western agency on the eastern agency they're doing pretty well on the non-response. Let me just cover Navajo when we reopened we were only at 0.9% of self-response within a week we jumped to 2.1 which is not a lot, but at least we're showing progress. But we'd like to get over 10% within a week or so. Around the Arizona, they're at 58%. New Mexico, they're at 50%. Utah at 66%. Around if you break it out by counties, Apache County, they're only at 10%. Navajo County at 25%. Coconino County, they're at 39%. The McKinley County, they're only at 19%. San Juan County, New Mexico, they're at 40%. So these counties, they have heavily populated Navajo in these counties. So we're only at 2.1. But for Eastern Agency, let me just cover a few chapters. There's a Bahadne and Rama, they're at 5.4. So they jumped 4.2% within the week. And the Red Rock, Church Rock, Pinedale, Young Bateau, they're at 5.2. They jumped 3.4% within the week, which is very good. Although one of them that are doing real good is Herfano, Nayizi, and Consular, they're at 6%. They jumped 4% within the week. So these are a few of Eastern Agency. Northern Agency, there's only a couple of chapters that are doing good. Norte Skis, Upper Fruitland, they're at 5.9. They jumped 4.7% within a week. Although the other agency within Northern, Sheep Spring, San Juan, Two Gray Hills, the Newcomb, they're at 4.1. Now they jump at 3.7% within the week. Kachige, they're still at 1% or less than 1%. So Northern Agency, we really need to pick it up. On the Fort Defiance Agency, Lupton and Nahatsi, they really jumped within a week. They jumped like 7.2%. They're at 7.9. They were only at 0.7 a week and a half ago. They jumped 7.2. So we need to all follow what Lupton and that area are doing. Other Hawk and Oak Spring, they're doing good too. They're at 4.6%. They jumped 4.5. They were only at 0.1 a week and a half ago. So they did a lot of self-response. So those are a couple of chapters within Fort Defiance Agency. On the Chinle Agency, they need to pick it up. Chinle Agency, the only one that's really doing good is the one at Solani, Cottonwood, Blue Gap, and Black Mesa. They're at 2.6, although the rest are at 1%. Although Western Agency, one of the chapters that have been doing real well because they're always on social media telling the folks to self-respond is Tuna Nesteza. Tuna Nesteza has its own track. Aside, they have their own track. As of yesterday, they're at 12.4%. So within a week and a half, they jumped 7.6%. Although in the Cameron, by the way, Gap, they're at 5.7. They jumped 5.5%. Although in that same area, Coal Mine Canyon, 4.6%. As of yesterday, they jumped 3.5%. Although that the rest, they're near 1%, 2%. So it's very important. It's very important that we do self-response. Although the way to do self-response is by internet. When you get your questionnaire, it'll have the instruction in there. On the phone, they'll have the phone number in there in the instruction. So as of yesterday, the 2.1% that Navajo Nation respond, 1.3 is by internet. We know that we have one of the barriers that we have, the challenges that we have is getting internet connectivity. So there's certain chapters that have free Wi-Fi. It's on Community Development's website. where those chapters are. And this is put on by NTUA and then also Sacred Wind and NAU. Others, either they mailed back the hard copy or did the phone call, 1.7%. So response rate, next week, response the census questionnaire it's there's 38 tracks within Navajo. Some of these tracks are combined with different chapters. So if every day at 3 o'clock it gets updated, these tracks. So if you go to 2020 census response rate, it'll take you to that site. And then all the states are on there. You can take it down to each county out on the tribal areas, and then you can take it down to each tract level. Even the cities, if you put in Holbrook or Flagstaff, it'll tell you the response rate from each of these towns. So 2020 census Thank you.